So as you understand that your guidance system is taking you from where you are, so the question that we want to put out to you is, where are you? Where might you be? So, well, you might be joyful, so it's a short trip. You might be worried about something. You might be afraid of something. You might be frustrated over something. You might be mad about something. In other words, you could be, as a result of what's just happened in your experience or what you've been interacting with, you could be anywhere along this emotional scale. On one end of it are the emotions that feel wonderful. And love, joy, appreciation, certainly all of this. Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss, and he was right on it. Feels like bliss. Feels like frisky. Follow your frisky. Not quite the ring, is it? But you've got to understand that when Jerry and Esther program Magellan or Pioneer or Garmin or whoever it is that they have in their fingers today, as they are programming their navigational system, they are wherever they are. Can you imagine if they programmed in and Magellan, instead of just calculating the route between where they are and where they want to be, figured out where all of you are too in relationship? And then Jerry and Esther saw 250 maps all at once, all about different places. In other words, it would be utterly confusing. But that's not what happens. It's only the relationship between where they are and where they want to be. The other end of it are the emotions that feel not so wonderful. In fact, they feel awful. And the wonderful feeling emotions are about your perception of freedom, and the awful feeling emotions are about your perception of lack of empowerment. Freedom and empowerment on one end, no empowerment and bondage on the other. Isn't that? Can't you feel in the emotion of fear that it's about your feeling of disempowerment? When you think about that empty feeling that most of those strong negative emotions brings to you, it is empty because it's sort of emptying. You've emptied yourself out of the fullness of that which you could be if you were allowing your full vibrational alignment or connection. So when we get back to this subject of sources calling you, and what does it sound like, we want you to understand that if you're in despair and source is up here beaming this signal of love and joy, through your distorted ears, it's not going to sound like harps. It's not going to sound like love and joy, but it is going to sound like something that feels better to you than the despair and powerlessness that you are currently feeling. For most of you, it's going to feel like anger. And we want you to know that if you focus upon something and you let yourself go with the anger, you have really taken a step in the right direction. Now, those around you aren't going to see it that way, because when you're depressed, you're not as bothersome to them as when you are angry. But if they could feel the improvement that you're feeling, they would know that in that angry step that you are closing this gap. And that's what we want to talk about all day here today. We want to talk about a variety of ways that you can close the gap on any subject that is important to you between where you currently are and where you want to be. Because as you close that vibrational gap, what happens is you begin emitting a singular, powerful signal. Now, why does that matter? Because you're a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. Your action doesn't mean diddly squat. It is your vibrational essence that is your point of attraction. And law of attraction is responding to what you've got going on. So if what you've got going on is being mad about something or worried about something or afraid about something, if what you've got going on is a series of things that are bothering you, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, then law of attraction is just doing what law of attraction always does. It's bringing more things to you that match how you're feeling. And a wonderful thing about being in a physical body is that you don't have to figure it out vibrationally, because sooner or later, whatever you're vibrating on a pretty regular basis is going to manifest. In other words, what you think and what you feel and what manifests are always a perfect vibrational match. You never ever get something that is not an accurate match to the vibration that you've been offering. So you can wait till it's manifested. We call that post-manifestational awareness. And then do your best to clean it up. And we got to say that's going about it the hard way, because once something you really don't want manifests is sort of in your awareness, and it's more difficult for you to distract yourself from it. Doesn't matter, you still can, but We encourage pre-manifestational awareness. We would like you to know well along your route. Wouldn't it be nice if you get in your car and you're on your way and you're going totally in the wrong direction and you drive 5,000 miles before you figure it out? Wouldn't it have been better if you'd figured it out earlier? Jerry and Esther changed drivers one time when they were in Texas, and Jerry is lying in the back, and Jerry says, I didn't know there were 2 Holiday Inns in Austin. And Esther began to laugh because she had gone the wrong way on the freeway. They got off to change drivers, and she went in the opposite direction of where they were headed. And sooner or later, Esther would have figured it out. But it was nice that Jerry caught it early. They were only 2 miles down the road. So your emotional guidance system lets you know what you're on the way to. You can tell by the way you feel. And there are 2 things that we hope to highlight for you. 2 things that we would like very much that you would find active in your vibration and therefore benefit from for the rest of your life as a result of our interchange here today. First and most important, we would like you to make peace with where you are, because where you are is where you are, and it's just fine. Because if you're mad at yourself about where you are, then it's much harder to close the vibrational gap. If you're not mad at yourself about where you are, but you're just where you are, in other words, wouldn't it be odd if Jerry and Esther got in the car and programmed Magellan, and then Magellan began chastising them about being there? My God, what are you doing there? Have you learned nothing from me? Have I not led you to wonderful place after wonderful place? Why would you go there? And we want you to understand that your guidance and that which is your source is never criticizing you or feeling criticism about where you are. Because the only thing that matters is the relationship between where you are and where you want to be. And source is so where you want to be and calling you toward it that if you'll give yourself a break, if you'll get off your own back, if you'll lighten up a little bit, if you'll give yourself a break, if you'll relax where you are and listen for the call and not expect it to sound like harps, but accept it to sound like relief, accept it to sound like something that feels just a little better than where I am, then you'll begin to hear the call of source, and you'll begin to close that vibrational gap, and you'll begin to stop resisting and start practicing the art of allowing, and you'll begin to more often than not offer one signal, and you will begin to offer this powerful signal, and one who is connected to the stream is more powerful than millions who are not. In other words, when you stop scattering your own energy, you're going to be knocked over by the universal influences, by the sequence of conditions and circumstances and others that reveal themselves to you in a constant, steady stream of helping you along the way. Someone gave Jerry and Esther a plaque to put in their car that reflects, you can't read it when you look at it, but when you lay it on the dashboard, it reflects properly on the windshield, on the inside of the windshield. And it says, everything always works out for me. And we want you to realize that everything is working out for you. Even the things that seem like it's a wrong turn are things that are working out for you. And if you could accept that and get into that giving yourself a break, everything works out for me attitude, you will find the next and the next and the next and the next. And before you know it, you're going to begin doing what you intended to do when you made the decision to come forth into this body. You're going to start enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey, enjoying the journey. Those of you who are not enjoying the journey, who are banking on getting happy once the outcome comes, you have long, unpleasant journeys, don't you? When you begin to enjoy the journey, no matter where you are upon it, when you're having fun, no matter where you are upon it, no matter where you are in relationship to where you want to be, then you are living life in the way that you've intended. Because one thing is certain, you will never ever get it done. You are an eternal being, and you will not stop having experience, and you will not stop concluding new intentions. You will not stop expanding. And so if you're holding out to feel good until some piece of expansion has been completed, then you're going to have a long wait coming. When you get ready to go on a vacation, you never say, I think I will go on a vacation. I will go here and here and here and here and here and here and here. And then I will come back home. And then you look at it objectively and you say, wait, all of those places and then home? Wait, I'm already home. why go? And so you just check vacation off your list. One more thing I don't have to do. And we say, you don't go on the vacation to get it done. You go on the vacation for the joy along the way, for the people you will meet, for the inspiration that will come, for the new ideas that will be born, for the new feelings of exhilaration, for the new feelings of feeling frisky. In other words, you go on the vacation for the fun of the vacation, not to get it done. And you did not come into this body to get something done. You came for the fun of the journey. And so the two things that we want you to leave here knowing, remembering, reactivated within you is that we want you to make peace with wherever you are upon this emotional scale, because wherever you are is just fine and can be immediately improved when you know it. And the other thing we want you to realize is that you will never, ever, ever, ever get it done. You cannot get it wrong, and you never get it done. It will constantly expand. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. There is nothing that is off limits here. Everything is on limits. One thing you will notice is that there will be a perfect unfolding. You remember hearing just now when we said that your life experience causes you to launch things into vibrational escrow, and that your source becomes them immediately. So another way of saying that is that this meeting has gathered before your physical body is assembled, because your life experience has been preceding you. And so a perfect unfolding that will explain and answer everything that is important to you, and even more, those things that you are now ready to hear. Sometimes somebody else will do a better job of framing your question than you could, but it is our promise to you that anything that is important within you will be answered here. Just relax and trust that and listen for the answer. And in that attitude of, I'm probably going to hear it, I'm probably going to get it here today, you are more likely to do so. The other day, we watched Jerry and Esther. They had a sort of interesting experience, because in the new book that is just on the bookshelves now, there is a new process that Esther is finding very satisfying, because it's a process about closing this gap. And so the contrasting situation occurs, and you know that it has occurred because you're feeling negative emotion. In other words, something's happened and you're feeling negative emotion. And the negative emotion is not too hard to define. And in the midst of all of that, a new desire is being born. And as that new desire is being born, you feel even worse, because now the gap between where you are and where you want to be has widened just a little bit. And now your dominant effort must be toward closing that gap. And so by applying a series of positive statements, wouldn't it be nice if, or what can I find about this that I like, or is there anything about this that makes me feel a little better? Trying to fork in the direction of what feels better rather than forking in the direction of what feels worse. And so Esther has made for herself a little computer program, and every time in the last week that she's felt a little or a lot of negative emotion about something, she has gone right to her computer and described the situation and described the emotion, and then she sits and she just writes until she feels better. And it is remarkable how quickly she can feel better. And it is also remarkable how often in the middle of that writing another page springs up. In other words, I thought, Esther said, that what I was really angry about was that while I was working on a recording process, that Jerry was out on the outside of the monster bus rearranging everything in the bottom portion of the coach, which is box after box after box after box after box after box of things. Just when I think I know where everything is, I can hear him out there banging around and moving things around. And I'm not going to be able to find anything, because I can never remember where Jerry put something. So Esther is working on the recording, and Jerry can't remember where he puts things either. So Esther is working on the recording and getting increasingly agitated about it, and not doing any writing about it because she has other things to do. And then she went to print something, and the printer cartridge ran out. No problem. I'll go get my new printer cartridge.